I think what they were doing was good. Well,
to me, you rehearse. You get it perfect. You know exactly what you're doing,
and
then you forget about it.
Let me pinpoint you. You said they learn it, they forget it, and that's okay.
That's great.
Well, they've forgotten it.
But they never learned it. So when do they learn it? I'm just saying, when do we have it?
But what I'm saying is if they're going to forget it anyway, then what difference does it make? I mean, you see what I mean? It's just like, it's like one of those, it's a Zen thing. It's like, you know, how many babies, fit in the tire thing, the old joke,
TBTL.
The new phone book's here! The new phone book's here! I'm somebody now! Millions of people look at this book every day! This is the kind of spontaneous publicity, your name in print, that makes people!
Where are you guys? Have I lost you in the land of Never Never?
I've only ever said I love you to two men my entire life. Stone Cold Steve Austin and a guy in a dark club who I mistook for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I know these guys are annoying, but that's all I got.
It's party time, chumps.
All right, hello, good morning, and welcome everyone to a Wednesday edition of TBTL, the show that just might be too beautiful to live.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
My name is Luke Burbank. I am your host.
This song goes out to all the coffee lovers of the world.
Coming to you from the Madrona Hill studio, perched high above the mighty Columbia, where we're looking at a fairly decent day, actually. The river is it's roiling, but that's just because a giant car carrier just went by. Well, I guess you'd call it a car carrier. Like a giant ship with a bunch of, containers on it. I don't know what's in those containers. Probably not cars, but maybe what I should do is just focus on the task at hand instead of speculating on the maritime traffic. The task at hand is bringing you episode 4691 in a collector's series.
Let the fun begin.
We failed to get to the story yesterday, per usual for us, but a guy in England woke up completely the color blue.
No, I'm afraid I just blew myself.
And yes, I know I used that audio yesterday to introduce this story that I didn't get to, but it's just, for once in a generation, you get an audio drop that's so perfectly tailored to the story. In fact, we might be doing the story because of the audio drop, that you use it 2 days in a row and you make no apologies. By the way, that's me making no apologies. That's what that sounds like. I want to apologize for being kind of a no fun Nick. There's something going on with me and birthdays that I'm first of all, really hoping that the people who would potentially hear this don't hear this, and also that you all who are hearing this don't think that I'm being kind of unfun about birthdays.
It's not my birthday.
Speaking of a guy who's always fun about birthdays.
But seriously.
Let's introduce the longest-running Cobra of the show, maybe best known for his depictions of the tall ships. He's Andrew Walsh. He's joining me right now. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Luke. Remember the other day how I told you that I have a dwindling stack of holiday cards sent in from TBTL listeners? We got a whole bunch of them during the winter holidays, and I kind of open one or two a day, and it just sparks a little joy. It's like, did I already make this comparison? It's a little bit like pull tabs of happiness, sort of. Like I get near the end of my day.
Except you always win.
Except you always win. And I want to give a shout out to listener Joseph in the Bronx, who sent a very sweet card. I mean, again, I'm not shouting out everybody, but I did want to say thanks to everybody again, but also shout out to Joseph for including in the card, without even really mentioning how or why he chose these, 5 trading cards from the 90s from various different properties. We got 2 here from Batman Returns that I used to collect Batman cards from the first movie, so these are pretty amazing. Your Batman-mobile? Batman-mobile. And so I got a picture here of the Penguin on one of these cards, and then Batman sort of holding a Catwoman by her shoulders there. Then we got 2 from a very different film adventure called The Flintstones. We
Okay.
got John Goodman as Fred Flintstone, and he's chipping
sure.
away at a block at work. And
Wilma.
it says executive material, ! And then one of him showing off his foot at a board meeting, and it says car trouble. And I think the joke there is
That's
he
actually
had
pretty
car
funny.
trouble getting in because of his foot.
Buy, sell, and trade. It's Tradio.
And then the last thing I want to share with you, because I had a question. I feel like this would not have overlapped with your interests as a young man, but maybe it did. I don't know how into car culture you were, but have you heard of Trax? TRAKS trading cards. They were apparently NASCAR or race car trading cards, and we have one of those from Joseph.
Well, I'm getting into cars a little bit because, as I mentioned the other day on the show, I was walking through the airport in Indianapolis, and I was seeing Indy cars that were like on display behind like velvet ropes, and I thought they looked way cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never been up close to one of those. I've never considered myself a motorsports kind of guy, but I was like, that would be fun to drive one. And then I think it was listener Ian reached out and said those were Indy cars, and they actually have an IndyCar event in Portland in the summertime.
That could be fun through the
now
through the
Tracks.
streets.
Let me
Now
ask
this
you
is a NASCAR thing. It looks like to me. Now I don't know if it's always NASCAR,
yeah,
but
that's definitely not. Yeah, that's not. What are they? I don't know why. I'm going to try to use terminology, but open wheel racing, I believe, is for F1 and things like that. There's not any housing of the car over the wheel versus, of course, NASCAR, which is what you're holding up.
Right. And this one is called Sunday Drive. And even though this card was issued in 1991, it's actually a highlight from 1984. I don't know if I held that up. If you could tell me exactly what moment in NASCAR history that is. It just looks like a bunch of cars.
Let me see. Hold on. Let
Here
me
you
think
do
about it. It's an
Okay,
STP. That looks like, what is that? Is that a Dodge? What's he running there? What's he running? That STP car that's leading the pack. That looks like that might be a Dodge to me. Is that possible?
I don't. Well, I'm going to read to you the back. I'm kind of reading this cold. It says
Is that
1994
Kurt
highlight.
Busch?
It says it's funny they don't even use first names, or at least not for Petty. It says because
Richard Petty.
Is it
of course.
Richard Petty? Petty zipped past Bill Elliott and snatched the
sure.
checkered flag in race number 11 held at Dover, Delaware, with President Ronald Reagan in the stands. Richard claimed his. There you go. Richard claimed his 200th win, dueling with Yarborough at the wire of the Firecracker 400 in Dayton. Although the season was not his best, Petty set a win record that will probably never be broken. That was written in 1991. I don't know if it's been broken or not. There you go.
That's Richard Petty running the. That was a Pontiac, I think he might have.
Oh, interesting. So you know a little bit more
Rusty
about that.
Wallace. Now I'm just looking at the internet. Now I'm looking up these Trax 1991 racing trading cards. What year did you say yours is from?
So the
80
trading
something?
card came out in 1991, but it's celebrating a 1984 moment, which is kind of interesting. It's not like baseball cards where it's like the previous season, I guess. But it's pretty sweet. I got to say, this really was joyful. I love these kinds of cards. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of Batman cards. I have a deck of, or like a pack of Elf cards somewhere that I think remain unopened that I'm saving for a day when I'm really blue. And so opening
What's
this
the
up.
big? I wonder what the get is in an Alf. Like, is it
Willie?
It's a Gordon Shumway card.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's his Earth name, right? We always
Gordon
do this.
Shumway. No, that's his space name.
That's his space
home
name.
Gordon Shumway.
Space name.
And Earth, he's just known as Alien Life Form, a.k.a. Elf. Now, I was going to say, speaking of cards, I was going to see if there was anything going on in your life related to cards that this might have set up for
segue.
you.
It's a great segue.
Well, I
Andrew,
started
and-
to segue, but then it occurred to me I didn't also want to spoil I didn't want to spoil whatever you want to talk about.
No, that's the perfect way into this. Although I'm already, as you could tell in the setup, I'm already 5% regretting even going on the record with this. But so there has been, let's just say, there's another organization that I work for where, and in fact, there's two organizations I work for where this tends to happen. Although it seems to happen more frequently in one of these organizations where we have a good number of folks that work for the operation, and it has become very important in the culture of this workplace. But we're all spread out, generally speaking. To somebody is in charge of setting up and sending out like a digital birthday card whenever it's somebody's birthday is coming up, And this week there happened to be in the words of Stu Gott, collision course.
Mm-hmm.
There's two, basically right before the show today, I was like, I got 2 emails kind of back to back about like, don't forget to sign so-and-so's birthday card. And like, I've worked with all these folks for a good number of years, and I'm on the one part is I am running out of things to say on digital birthday cards.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's there for the whole world to see, right? Have you ever signed one of these?
Yeah. You ever signed one of these? Was it a little Goldman? No, not Gary Goldman. Who is that?
Well, it could be a Maniscalco, although that would be more like
Maniscalco, yeah.
These
that's what I thought you were
these digital cards.
Mm-hmm.
You sign one of these? That's again, how is the impression getting worse? So you have signed one of these. You are familiar. There's a couple of things about the digital birthday card that stress me out. One is the fact that everybody who comes in and signs it after you can, if they care to, read what everybody else has written.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like you're going around with a birthday card and you're saying, oh, hey, can you sign this for so-and-so? And you just kind of write with a pen like, happy birthday, you sign your name. It's kind of there's a pretty clear digital record of the whole thing. And so I feel pressure to write something thoughtful and heartfelt, not just like, happy birthday. I want to say something.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? Because I'm trying. So the experience of seeing what other people have written before you hasn't changed from physical card to digital card, because if somebody came over to my cubicle in 2005 and dropped a card on my desk, I'd still be able to see it. Do you feel the messages, because they're digital, are getting more involved, and that's where the pressure lies?
Well, first of all, I don't think you would sit there and read what everybody else had written if you were at your desk the way that you might, because there's one physical card and somebody else needs to sign it. I think that the fact that it's like anybody can just go on their computer and like look at this card for as much as they care to, and no one else, I don't need to hand this card off to the next person to sign it, I think creates more attention. This is my theory around what everybody else is writing on there. Now, by the way, do I read what anyone else is writing? Of course not.
No, I don't think most people. I think most
I couldn't
people are
possibly
like you.
But there is something about, so I'm running out of things to write because I'm now in the birthday card 6 or 7 for some folks. I should probably just lower my personal standards for it and just write happy birthday and my name. That's perfectly fine. Happy birthday. We're celebrating your birthday. That would probably lower my stress level. But instead, I want to say something that's kind of punchy, that shows the person I appreciate them, etc. And again, I'm running out of things to say. There is also just the fact that when I get one of these, when I get a note about this in my inbox, and I love these folks that I work with, I really do. But it feels like it stresses me out whenever I see, hey, and I don't want other people, because I get one of these cards every year too. I don't want other people to see, I don't want other people to get the email, Luke's birthday is coming up, and now everybody has to like, okay, we got to write something for this guy. It's like, what am I going to say? Everybody's got to jump on the card, make sure that, you got the right link, and make sure it hasn't expired or whatever, sign the thing and send it to me. I don't like creating that for other people. I don't need that from other people. Andrew, when I tell you that I have now gotten in my life at this organization, well, probably 10 of these cards, I've never opened one of them. I would, and this is something that's really just wrong with my brain.
I put money in that last year for you.
I would, well, it's still there. I would say you can cancel that check. You wrote me a check for $5, right?
I did, yeah. I can't balance. I've been waiting to I can't balance
Grandma
my checkbook.
Walsh.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing I was thinking about as I was writing, and again, it's just the fact that today I had to do 2 of them, so it really felt like, man, this is a significant part of my professional responsibility is filling out digital birthday cards. But I was thinking to myself, I've gotten one of these every year, and I have literally never opened it because I can't handle that kind of attention for some reason. I'm not quite you, maybe as a kid, plugging your ears as they were singing happy birthday, but it turns out I might be closer to that than I realize, just because and it's such a nice thing. It's people saying like, hey, happy birthday, or hope you have a great day, or we really appreciate working with you. It's nice stuff from nice people. There's something about sitting down and scrolling through digitally my coworkers who have been forced to write something nice to me in the card that fills me with angst. And that seems like that's not a pleasant experience for me, even though everything about it is meant with love and kindness and should be a good feeling. It does not make me. It fills me with enough dread that I've never opened one of these cards.
That is interesting. I don't, and I've received digital cards before. They've been around for a while. I'm trying to think. They might have even switched to those when I was still at New Hampshire Public Radio. I feel like that was a card culture, sort of. Mm-hmm. And I feel like maybe even while I was there, because I was there up until, 2009 or something like that. So I think digital cards had sort of taken over. Like we had a HR manager named Maureen who would send them around or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you on the dread about signing them, physical cards or digital. I don't feel a big difference in these cases, but I'm always like, I don't know what to say. Sometimes I just write happy birthday. I was signing a physical group card the other day for the group I volunteer with, and it's from a guy who lets us know, he's a customer of ours who lets us know he wants a card every year, and he'll start letting us know weeks in advance that he wants a card, and then we write him a card, and he actually questioned me. He's like, what did you write? What did you write? I can't read it. Did you write anything other than happy birthday? I'm like, no, Jerry, I just wrote happy birthday. He's like, did you sign your, I said, did you sign your name? I'm like, I just signed an A, Jerry. But anyway, so it was like kind of my worst nightmare of like,
you didn't ALW them?
Somebody, that's email. But I had that, my signature is usually just sort of an A, or if it's official, it's sort of like a scrawled AW. But so if anybody wants to hack me, there you go. But it was sort of funny being called out on it, you know. But I'm with you about that dread. Like, I don't really know what to write, and so I just write happy birthday, and I'm sort of just over. I'm just over cards. I hate to say it. Like, you know, I'm from Cleveland, the home of Hallmark, and so I feel like I'm betraying
also,
my
just
people
remember.
here. No, American Greetings. American Greetings.
We started this episode with you talking about reading through the cards.
And how much joy it brings me. No, that's a good point. But the office culture cards, am just like, I am with you that I don't really feel... When they do come my way, I think at 8 p.m. some of those digital cards came my way. And when they came my way at 8 p.m., they were for people I truly cared about. Like, I don't know for sure, but I'll bet you one came for our pal Kiki Lolo, Christina Lopez, who I love and admire, and we worked closely with. And so if there's anybody that fills that role that I should be excited to sign their card, it should be that person. But even in that case, I'd be like, I don't know, happy birthday. I'll text you later. I'd rather get on the phone and chat with you at some point. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I'm just sort of not bought in on the concept of it. I don't share your anxiety about reading them. Now, probably because it's been a long, long time since I've received something like this. I'm not quite as popular as you.
No,
I think for me, I would be more, and I hate to say it, maybe slightly more dismissive about it. Just kind of like, okay, yeah, I think I understand what you're talking about a little bit of that anxiety, but that's not the leading cause for me to maybe not want to open that thing.
Right. Okay. But also, you've also just solved the main problem for me. Forget about whether I open it or not, the ones that I've received. The main problem for me is the stress around what am I going to write. But you've already just like fully submitted to the idea that you're just going to write happy birthday -A.
Happy birthday. Hope you have a good day, or just something simple. Like, I guess it depends on my relationship with the person, but I just sort of feel like a group card like that. But again, this is the type of thing where anything I'm going to say is going to be slightly rude, especially since I set this up by saying how much I enjoy opening these cards from listeners. But I'm the wrong person to ask because I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? About my own birthday, generally speaking. Right. So I can't say, is there somebody else who receives this? I will tell you this. I've never talked to somebody who said, wow, I received a card. Everybody in the office signed it. And it was really, really special. Maybe people do feel that way. Maybe people in our listening audience do. I'm not trying to be glib or steal anybody's joy, but I'll just say I've never heard that.
Yeah, I'm looking now. I'm back inside the card. I think part of it for me is this particular grouping of folks that I work with, again, who I love and adore. That it's I'm scrolling through one of these cards. It's a verbose crew, if that makes sense.
See.
I'm not seeing one HBD in here.
Yeah, right.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm seeing multiple sentences. People are getting creative with the font, because
you
again,
can
that's
choose your font. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think you would like that part as a font, as a Garamond guy.
Yeah.
But so that's the other thing is it's like this is a group of folks who are, and I mean this in the best way, really loving. They really care about each other. They work really hard. They're a good group of folks. And so no one pulls an Andrew and just says, happy birthday, -A. So the standard is that the bar is set too high. Maybe I can change that culture. Maybe I can bring them down to my level by just beginning the process of, but that's the other thing too. I know I'm overthinking and over describing this and overboring the listeners. But the other problem is at this particular workplace, I have a semi-high social status or semi-high status.
I was going to say that. I can't tell what you're talking about, by the way. I cannot figure out at all what workplace you would be talking about.
Yeah,
but if there were
TBTL.
If there were a scenario where there's a whole bunch of people, sorry, I just totally interrupted you, but I was thinking this. I wanted to bring this up too, and maybe I can give you a little bit of coverage here. Because again, I don't know you that well. I can't tell what you're talking about in your particular situation. But if there were a situation where there's a whole bunch of people who will all work on a project together, but one person is the face of that operation, is the outward face of that operation. But I'm somebody who just I don't know, let's just say I'm a junior producer and I cut tape, and I'm often, people don't even know my face that well around the office or whatever, then I'm much more likely to get away with an HBD/A, you know what I mean, than if I were somebody who, I don't know, hosted a variety show or something like that, and I was sort of the public face.
Well,
of
that's
that.
where you're wrong. I'm not talking about that place.
Really? It's the other... No. Oh, you said 10 years. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what you're talking about.
I do think that a lot of this stuff is, for me, passed through this filter also of, it would be very bad form if a person who has the role at this place that I do was seen as being kind of too busy to sign the card or phoning it in and just kind of be doing the minimum. I really don't want to do the minimum because, again, I really appreciate and very much love the folks that I work with on this particular endeavor. But yeah, it definitely feels to me, and again, this could be just completely created in my own mind, but it's I feel like if I were to not sign one, that could be interpreted as some kind of a thoughtlessness on my part, which I would really, really, really not want to be transmitting, because that's not how I feel at all. I just am not big on these cards. And I also feel like really what I want to say is please, nobody, I don't need a card this year. I do not, I'm getting plenty of appreciation and love from the people I work with through their hard work and dedication to the project. We don't have to force anybody to jump online and fill out a digital card, but that also feels like being no fun.
And
for me.
And the dynamic that we've sort of set up there too is a little bit different as well. Now, I did what anybody should do in this situation, Luke, which is I just dusted off the Chat GPT that I downloaded a year ago around this time to grade my fantasy baseball. And this is the second time I believe I've used this in 2 years.
The answer was right there.
Chat GPT. I wrote, what should I write in my coworker's birthday card? And this is what the robot said. Keep it simple, warm, and appropriate for your workplace relationship.
Don't mention your divorce.
Don't mention your divorce.
Don't
Here are a
few
few options depending on the vibe you want. The first one is friendly and personal. And here's what it says. It says, happy birthday. Do those legs go all the way up? What the? No, it says happy
Check out those getaway sticks.
Happy birthday. Wishing you a great year ahead filled with success, happiness, and maybe even a little less email laughy face.
That would be a perfectly acceptable birthday card message, except for the context or the type of work that we're all doing. It's not an office job, so you're not buried under an avalanche of emails.
Yeah, you could say, and hopefully fewer pickups. Okay, how about this? Casual and light. Happy birthday. Hope your day is filled with good coffee, great food, and 0 meetings.
All right. Now this is why I'll never fully relinquish my written life to the likes of AI and ChatGPT, because I would probably rather, I don't want to say die, because that's pretty intense, but I would feel extremely self-conscious if somebody thought that was humor that I was intentionally deploying. For someone to think that I wrote that. In fact, the other day I took a picture of it again, but it's on my other computer in the house. AI tried to compose a response to a listener from me.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the one that was just completely and totally off the rails about Italy. It was another one that was, again, inserting some kind of factual response to this person. Again, it would be a more interesting story if I had it right in front of me, and I don't. But yeah, they're still trying to do that. And when it comes to humor, yeah, like I would be mortified. And this is why I will always do the work of writing my own messages in people's digital cards, because what you just read, what was it? And hopefully a few less.
No meetings, zero meetings.
Zero meetings. Like, I would rather die than have somebody think that was my attempt at humor.
So here's what the AI has offered me. So it's offered me some short and simple solutions. Happy birthday. Hope it's a great one. If you're closer, happy birthday. Work wouldn't be the same without you. Hope you celebrate your big day. But here's what I like. Then it says, if you want, tell me your coworker's personality, funny, quiet, your level of closeness, and I can tailor it perfectly. So now I'm writing.
Okay.
My coworker has a pretty good sense of humor. I like her okay, but I don't think she likes me very much. I just want to see what the computer does with this interesting dynamic.
Yes, right.
Got it. That is a delicate balance. You want to be friendly and a little funny, but not overdo it or come off too personal. Here are some good options. Light humor. Safe. This is a safe one, Luke. Happy birthday. Hope your day is filled with cake, good vibes, and minimal work interruptions. I'm noticing a pattern here.
Whoa, yeah.
Like
the rule of three.
Yeah, exactly.
And minimal work interruptions.
Exactly.
That's a little too safe.
Let's see. You're happy. This is slightly playful. Happy birthday. I was going to get you something amazing, but I figured this card and my presence at work would be enough. Laughing face.
Okay.
Actually, not too bad.
Yeah. I think I would say getting to work with me, or, my presence at work feels a little formal, but still okay. I see where we're going now. Let's get into Saucy Town. Let's get into Saucy Jack.
Well, what I was hoping for was something like, I know that you don't like me very much, but I'm hoping that we can build on our relationship over the next work year.
I've done and said some things at this place of work that honestly words can't undo.
No, understood. Even AI can't tackle those problems. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get anything really. I thought by adding the dynamic of I don't think this person likes me very much would get me some. But the thing is, AI is actually trying to help here, and I'm trying to.
Can you put in? We had a brief tryst.
Do you want me to? Okay.
Yes. Let's see. We had a brief tryst.
I should mention that me and this coworker did have a brief TRYST, I want to say.
Yes, like you haven't written tryst.
Like
that's not one of the number one words you use.
Well, I was trying. Should I just write that? The coworker and I did have a brief tryst, anything a few years ago that ended amicably or poorly. Okay, a few years ago that AI is just going to cancel the shit out of me. That ended poorly. Let's see here. Yeah, that definitely changes the tone, says this ChatGPT. In that case, less is more. You want to be polite, neutral, positive, and not hint at any inside jokes, history, or extra warmth. That could feel awkward. I got to be honest with you. Leaving aside the suggestions, the actual advice is not bad. Happy birthday. Hope you had a great day and a wonderful year ahead. Don't think about the past. No, I just added that last part.
So does it end at a wonderful year ahead?
A wonderful year ahead. Yeah, they're all very generic.
So they don't ramp this one up. It doesn't go from
it dials
generic
it back.
There's no. They're not going to push any envelopes.
They're like, don't touch this. They're like, don't mess around with this. Happy birthday.
They're honestly like, maybe don't even go to work today. Why don't you work from home?
It says, you know what? Don't take a shower today and stay in bed. Let's see. It says, I'd avoid anything too personal, like work wouldn't be the same without you. I would avoid anything that is too jokey or sarcastic or anything that could feel like you're trying to reconnect. Think of it as pleasant, respectful, and drama-free. A clean, simple message actually comes across the most mature in this situation. Honestly, again,
not bad advice.
I completely agree with everything the robot is saying.
Now, we're the wrong people to be, and yet we do it so often, we're the wrong people to be sort of analyzing and diagnosing what consciousness is, because the knock on these programs, these large language models, is that they're they're just basically prediction machines. They've scraped and studied and learned everything that humans have ever said to or written to each other. And so because they know all of that, they just know what the next thing usually would be based on just like probability. But like that thing giving you that advice, that's pretty solid advice.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, studied advice that's been given to people. Like, how does it know that part? How does it know? I don't understand how it knows how to give you that response when really, like, I understand it being able to write me a country western song because it's listened to it's read every country. It understands what kind of topics, what the words are that come next. Or it could write me a Shakespearean sonnet. It can write me a resume. It could write me a cover letter. It can do all these things where it just knows typically what happens with them. But that seems like pretty thoughtful, good advice from someone with a brain in their head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this one is all right. But I mean, you're asking me questions that I don't know the answer to. I think you've done a lot more reading or listening to podcasts with kind
mostly
of thinkers
listening to podcasts
on this topic, and I honestly have not. So, but in an effort to be yes and, my guess is a lot of the information does probably come from websites that I'm sure right now, if I were to type into Google and skip the AI functionality, like, there's probably still tons of advice online about workplace etiquette regarding writing cards and potentially about how to deal with former workplace romances. I mean, I guess it's just sort of grabbing all that information and,
but it has a file apparently that's like, we had a tryst. It didn't go great. It didn't end well. And now it's 2 years later. I'm writing a birthday card. So it's got a file somewhere that's like, if asked that, here's where I go for that information. Like, I mean, the whole thing is just, and again, I mean, we have actual computer literate people in the audience who are just like throwing their laptop right now. But it's just like, sometimes it'll do something like that I'm like, wow, that's actually sounds like a person's thinking and responding, like that's pretty good advice that it's telling you. But then, of course, as we talk about all the time, it's also has very much the possibility of just saying some crazy stuff that has no basis in reality, too, which is the reason that as of right now, I wouldn't put a lot of trust in it for myself, and I wouldn't use it overwhelmingly because there's so many times when it gets it wrong. But then sometimes it actually kind of like that's better advice than I've gotten at times in my life from human people.
Well, this is interesting. It says here that windshield washing fluid tastes really good. So could you hold on one second? I want to go. I have some of that in the garage. I just wanted to see how it tastes.
I think you're thinking of antifreeze, and I think that haven't they made?
Is antifreeze and windshield washing fluid the same thing? Because I thought
I thought that was a very dark joke about taking the end of your life.
No. I mean, it was just a dark joke about like AI telling you to do something really stupid. It wasn't. I wasn't referring to anything specific there.
Because I know that antifreeze is obviously very, very bad for you, but it also has like a sweet flavor to it.
Oh, so really? Oh, no. You know what? I regret that joke. I wasn't going for anything specific there.
Because people will put it, because I used to watch a lot of like Forensic Files, and they would like, people would try to use, when they were trying to off their spouse, they would sometimes try to use antifreeze because something about the chemical makeup of it naturally had a sweet flavor to it. Oh. But then I think some of the antifreeze companies started putting something in it so that it tasted horrible. So that it would be less palatable. So when you said windshield wiper fluid, my mind went to antifreeze, went to what's the latest on antifreeze souring technology. I
hate my joke. I was just, honestly, I was going to say Drano, but that seemed too dark. And now the whole thing is too dark. And like, I was just trying to make a joke about AI telling you to do something stupid and dangerous. And this is what I wrought. This is why we should stop
interacting with these robots.
Yeah, you know what? I'm closing this down right now.
Fair. Shut it down, America.
We was hoping for some razzle-dazzle.
Razzle-dazzle.
That's right, man. Razzle-dazzle.
On your mark.
On your mark.
Get set.
Get set.
Now ready.
Ready. Go.
Everybody razzle-dazzle.
All right, let's thank some dazzling donors. These folks they're sponsoring us, really. Like, they're sponsoring the show. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee. Thank God coffee is expensive now, so we can say this. For less than a cup of coffee a day, you could sponsor a TBTL host.
What we should say is this is a message from our sponsors. We should start introducing it. And now for a message from our sponsors. And our sponsor today.
Our sponsors today are dazzling donors. The person making TBTL possible, making this a job for Andrew and myself and John Sklaroff. And we've got by the way, we've got a Business Boys meeting today. Remind me not to run too long in the tooth here because we've got to get to that. But today's presenting sponsor, one of our presenting sponsors, is Anthony Crunk in Newark, Delaware.
That is a great pronouncer. I would
really
not
helps.
have. Do you recall that from the past, that it's Newark? Have you heard this?
Do you recall me recalling anything?
Do you
anymore,
recall
Andrew?
me recalling anything that you've recalled on the show? No.
No, I'm sure that last year maybe this came up, and I'm sure I forgot it since then. But that is helpful because I would have never gone with Newark because
Love
it's
it.
like one word.
Yeah.
But Anthony knows how we be on this show, and so Anthony was helpful and put in the pronouncer.
Oh, actually, you know what? I think it's Newark. Like 2 words, knee and wark. No, I'm just joking.
Newark. Gotcha. Sure.
Where does one be?
Anthony says,
Can let me tell you a really quick joke. It's not even a joke. It's me just stealing a story from somebody else's podcast. But Scott Aukerman was talking on his podcast the other day, and I don't think of his humor as being very potty oriented or poopy oriented or whatever. But he said that his Wi-Fi password is fart. But when people ask him, like if somebody's visiting and says, "How can I log on? What is your internet password?" He'll say like FARTFART and break it up in this way. They're like,
that's
okay,
amazing.
and they'll just type it in often and like not even like realize what they're typing because they're breaking up the words in that way. Yes,
that's very clever.
It's pretty funny.
That is. Here's what Anthony out there in Newark is saying. Hey, friendos, once again, time to stare at the empty box that says enter your dazzling message and panic.
No.
Anthony, have you even filled out my digital birthday card yet?
That's the irony.
Right.
Oh, the irony.
That was looming in the back of my mind the entire time I was talking about getting an email about a digital birthday card. I was like, and yet that's how we treat these wonderful, generous people who have donated to the show. It's also like, and write us a digital birthday card.
Right, exactly. No, I hope write yourself a digital birthday card. Celebrate yourself.
I am sure that one of the themes of this year's messages is how many tens find escape and solace in being able to shut out the insanity, if only for a while. Hurrah for crossing the river into the Badlands on a daily basis. I like that. You know, that's a green light, Andrew, for us to just absolutely get wild in the Badlands. It sounds like Anthony's not only tolerates it, but actually enjoys it when we go long and just start talking about all manner of silliness.
Can I just mention something? I'm, as you know, I'm working sort of on a design for a concept that we had for the merch store that hopefully we'll be adding at some point in the nearish future. But because of that, I went back to our merch store and I was looking at things that we have to offer. And I always say this caveat: the merch store is not a way of us making money, like really at all. We just basically break even.
Complicated sales
but
pitch.
it's just like if you want to go there and you want to buy something, you know, we make it, we offer it. You know what I mean? But I'm not.
Yes.
I just want to be very clear during a dazzling donor message. I'm not pushing people to our store or anything like that.
We would much rather you donate during the thon and we send you a thank you item. That's a much better financial model for us than selling a bunch of merch at pennies on the dollar.
Well, I mean, quite literally pennies on the dollar for whatever that's worth. So that's just something that we do for fun. But I went back to our merch store. Luke, I think I'm gonna buy the Badlands hoodie. Have you seen that? Because
I saw it when it was in, I saw it as a beta test.
Yeah.
Let me go to
and I know it's a little bit
tbtl.com, right?
It's not net.
Oh,
I know it's a little patting myself on the back because I guess I made it, but I was like trying to remind myself what I had done for that design, and I went online. I'm like, oh, that's right, I made that.
Did a good
on
one
the
with this.
on the green hoodie, the forest green hoodie, that TBTL Badlands thing. I was like,
yeah.
I wouldn't usually wear a shirt that advertises my own project or something like that, but the TBTL part of it is like pretty,
subtle. Kind of looks like you're supporting the national parks. Which
It looks like you're supporting the parks. Yeah,
going for.
It's kind of handsome.
I actually like. You know what? I'm here. I'm quick looking at this. I like this.
And we literally will have to. I mean, just to let the listeners know, this isn't a bid. If we want these, we have to buy them off of the store, just like anybody
we don't
else.
have these. We don't.
No.
We don't. Louis, how do we have this?
Right.
Like these are made somewhere else, which is part of the whole pricing model of it. Is that's why we would have to charge an exorbitant amount to make any real money. So instead, we just kind of, we would like people to have these if they care to. But yeah, I'm looking at the military green one. I know that's not usually.
Yeah.
go towards that, but I just like this. I'm mocking it up here.
Hoodie or T-shirt are you looking at?
Hoodie. That's a handsome hoodie.
That's I was thinking the dark green one, but now I'm looking at the light green one. I like this. Anyway, that is just I just was surprised
the
because
irony.
You wouldn't
Andrew,
think that I would be going out shopping for things that say TBTL on them so that I can wear them myself, but I literally might do that.
I want to be clear about one thing, Andrew. We don't make any money on the merch. So if you're thinking of buying merch instead of donating during the thon, I want to strongly advise you out of that, please.
You know what?
What if you and I just started buying everything on the site, but then decided not to donate? I mean, us donating to the thon would also be an interesting move.
That sounds like money laundering to me. Yeah, that might get you out of a few jams.
Except we're not a 501c3, unfortunately. If we were, man, I could run a savage burn on my income. But anyway, back to Anthony's message. Anthony says, now, truly, what you do is so important. Thanks for being an escape from all the crazy. Oh, and also making me a Seattle sports fan, except for games against my alternate favorites, the Red Sox. Sorry, Andrew and John. That goes back to my earliest memory of any sport ball. Listen, Anthony, you don't have to apologize to those jabronis about about loving Red Sox Nation. I get it. You probably grew up somewhere in the Northeast, and this is a pre-existing condition for you, and I forgive you. And the Ravens, hey, I used to live in Baltimore. What can I say? There's absolutely nothing wrong with rooting for the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I think that's a really good... I've been thinking about this, actually, this sort of thing, because I made a promise a couple of weeks ago, or at some point last week, that I was not going to talk about some baseball thing I was watching last week.
Yeah,
but
we've all forgotten, thankfully.
We've all forgotten about that. But I will tell you, first of all, the Ravens thing really stands out to me because there was a time when there was no team that I disliked more than the Ravens, right? Because I was a Browns fan, and the Browns, the Ravens were the Browns that were ripped out of Cleveland and then set up shop in Baltimore by Art Modell and represented everything that was my first intense sports dislike. Now I root for the Ravens. You know what I mean? And it just really goes to show you why you shouldn't ever stake too much on sports fandom. Like when I talk about really disliking certain baseball players now, even one that I was really ragging on last week, it's still a sports dislike. It's still a machismo thing. And when I think about how I literally will root for Lamar Jackson when he is on the field in almost any case now, like why wouldn't you do that? I don't necessarily do that with the Red Sox, but I will tell you this, and this might end our relationship. This seriously might end our relationship.
Mine or your relationship with
my
Anthony
relationship with you. Me and Anthony are strong.
Oh boy.
But I was I can't remember what it was called, but there was some sort of a baseball sort of exhibition going on recently. Yeah. And there was a player in the stands watching the Venezuela game. I think it was Venezuela. I hope I'm not messing up his background, but it was Jose Altuve was just like in the stands.
Well, You've always had a slight crush on Altuve.
He's like the worst. He represents everything that I kind of like hate.
Are you going to shame him about his tattoo that he didn't want the world to see?
Exactly. I know I have legit reason to hold a grudge, a legit sports reason involving cheating. But honestly, and he wasn't like making a big deal. He was just sort of slouching with a grin on his face in the seat, I think rooting for Venezuela. Is he of Venezuela descent? Or I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he was rooting for Venezuela, or maybe he's just his friends on the team or whatever. Because I think whoever Abreu was playing
wouldn't he be playing for Venezuela if he was from
Well,
there?
he wasn't playing for anybody.
He's a Venezuelan professional baseball player.
Okay,
so there you go.
There you go. And I think it was
Why
Venezuela.
wasn't he in the WBC?
I don't know. I guess I have no idea. All I know is they shot it, and I think he was rooting on Abreu, his teammate. If they're still teammates, right? I don't know. I'm a little bit over my skis on this, but point is, like, I just saw him in the fans just being a chill friend of the sport and friend of his friend and being supportive and I was just kind of like, oh, you're giving me feels. Like it gave me a good feeling, and I'm just kind of like, I used to take my sports rivalries so damn seriously, and I know I still go off half-cocked from time to time because that's also part of the fun of sports. But man, I really do think that I've learned a lot in the past 5 years or so about like how these things do shift and alliances shift, and at the end of the day, we should be having fun with this stuff, not holding. You should never have to apologize to me for being a Red Sox fan, in other words.
Altuve could not play in the WBC because of insurance issues.
Interesting.
Right? He sustained, by the way, a fracture. It's so good that even a week later, we've moved on from WBC talk. He apparently...
I didn't bring it up. I couldn't remember what I was watching.
He sustained a fractured right thumb after being hit by a pitch in a WBC game in 2023 and missed the first 43 games of the regular season.
I didn't
I wonder if
remember
that's
that.
why they won't insure him for the WBC
That's
anymore.
interesting. That's really interesting. Well, I just thought it was cool to see that face in the stands. I was like, wait a second, I'm not supposed to like him. He's my rival. But I'm like, oh no, he's a human being who's there rooting on his friend and using sports to like kind of bring people together. I thought it was pretty nice.
I also think we're going to absolutely torch the Stros this year.
Let's
so
hope. Let's
I'm
hope.
good for that. My hatred of other teams or my dislike for them and their players is fully based on how much they dominate me and my team.
That
and
helps.
as my
Yes.
team is ascendant,
Yes.
It's amazing how much room I find in my heart for them potentially. Now, Anthony says, to inject a moment of seriousness, please take a moment each day to perform one simple act of kindness for someone else, no matter how small. It may seem like so little, but I believe in this formula. Ripples plus time equals waves. Do you know what you were doing, Andrew? You were taking Anthony's advice when you were looking at Jose Altuve.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like thinking a positive thought. You were enjoying him being in the stands, rooting on his friends and countrymen. That was, that was a ripple, and you give it some time, and then there's going to be a wave.
And also, I will say, ripples plus time equals waves is my favorite Broken Social Scene song. I'm sorry I ruined my own joke.
You've been listening to a lot of Broken Social Scene
Just
lately,
that one
haven't you?
record with what is it? Time? I can't remember what. Now I've got ripples plus time equals waves. There's
I
something.
feel like
plus
all their
time.
song names are weird to me anyway.
But anyway, I do love that
Yeah.
song a great deal.
And we do love Anthony. Anthony, thanks for supporting the show. Appreciate you. Maestro?
Oh, Luke, you set me up perfectly. This was not on you this time. I was just trying to remember the name of that song, and I totally
you were gorgling
spaced.
around.
I totally spaced. Oh, brother, give me another maestro. Can you give me another maestro?
On your mark. Get set. Get set. Now ready. Ready. Go. Everybody ready.
Hey, it's our friend in the grocery business. It's our friend Rolled Palamaria.
Nice. I think about Rolled all the time when I'm at the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know exactly when Rolled started listening. Rolled's in Puyallup, Washington, by the way. But I have to imagine that, Andrew, as you've come into the full glory of being a man who sometimes you go to the grocery store to buy one cashew and then bring
I
it
go
home.
to the cashew store for that.
And then you'll go to a different grocery store to get one plum. Then, like, it does seem like one of your major hobby activities is going to grocery stores, and that's got to be way up Rolled's alley because that's the industry that Rolled works in. That's got to
right.
be really fun for him. So.
And he's been my fact checking cuz on some
Yes.
curious things I've seen at grocery stores.
Rolled says, hello, business boys. I'd like to once again thank you for another great year in podcarding, even though you didn't win the Golden Globe.
Wait, do we know that for sure now? That's already been awarded to Amy Poehler, did you say, or
Amy
something?
Poehler. I didn't watch the Golden Globes, but I'm under the impression that she won. Hey, by the way, I think our friend Nora McInerney won like the iHeartRadio podcasting award for best. I think it's like personal advice podcast or something.
Nice.
For Thanks for Asking. And like the people that she beat out were like heavy hitters. Because again, all of these, these podcasting awards that they're now doing, if they're going to do like a best personal advice podcast, think about who else is in that space. You've got your Brene Browns, and you've got all these like Esther Perels, and there's like, a lot of big names in these podcasts now, and our friend Nora won one of them.
She beat Michelle Obama.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not joking. It says
That's a big name.
It looks like the. I'm looking at this now. This is from an iHeart radio station, and it's just a list of all the award winners. And it looks like the category Best Advice / Inspirational. The first nominee listed here is IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson. Those are two huge names. And then
I've been seeing a lot of clips of that show, by the way.
Really, this is all news to me, but you know me, I don't know anything about podcasting. On Purpose.
Why would
with
you?
Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty is having a moment.
Don't know that. Just Heal with Dr. J. Self-Consciousness with Chrissy Teigen. I've heard of her. And the winner is
From Tacoma.
Thanks for Asking with Nora McInerney. I did not know that Chrissy Teigen is from Tacoma.
Yes, yeah, big local star made good.
Yes.
Internet personality, model, actor, humanitarian, John Legend, being married to John Legend. Those are all things that are true about Chrissy Teigen.
That's right.
And also loser to our friend Nora in the podcasting division. It's crazy. Sometimes I forget how actually famous and successful Nora is. And then remember when I was hanging out with her ever so briefly in Arizona? She picked me up from the airport.
Yeah.
And like she picked me up in like a bismuth pink Porsche Cayenne and was telling me the story of this car. And then we were driving by I think I mentioned this on that show, but we were driving by somewhere in downtown, wherever in Phoenix. And she goes, and that's where my apartment and office is. And I was, but not the house we went to. She goes, no, that's another location where I film things and work on books and where my staff is. I was like, wow, we really move in different worlds, us and Nora. But back to Roald. Roald says, even though you didn't win the Golden Globe, you were still #1 in my heart. I saved a couple of things I wanted to tell you for my donor message. See, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Then you're not stressed about filling out our digital birthday card.
That's right.
As you're living your life and as things happen, you just have to carry a notebook.
That's right.
Constantly write down little anecdotes and experiences so then when it's time for you to write your donor message, it's not so overwhelming.
That's right.
This is easy. This is light work.
Just get yourself a nice leather-bound notepad that fits in your pocket.
Buy it from Keith Stone.
Make sure it's emblazoned with
Stonecraft
TBTL
leather
on the front. Absolutely right, Luke.
Okay, one, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Now, again, we don't know when Roald was writing this, but you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that the Stewbot thought he peed next to Eddie Vedder. Oh, I remember that. Actually, that was when all of the stuff was going down, specifically in the Twin Cities, and then there was that concert. I think Tom Morello was there, Eddie Vedder, and it was raising money and attention for good causes there. And Stewbot thought maybe he peed next to Eddie Vedder, but it turned out to not be him. Roald says, a few years back, I was having dinner with friends in Seattle, and a couple of tables away, Eddie was also having dinner with some friends. I got up to use the restroom, and on the way back, I passed him in the hallway. It was just the two of us. I did fight the urge of telling him how much his music meant to me, but instead I just smiled and I gave him an awkward bro head nod, and he did the same.
Nice.
I would have a pretty hard time, and I'm not even a Pearl Jam head per se. If I saw Eddie Vedder in a hallway, I would have a hard time not saying, hey man, big fan, which would be a kind of a lie. I'm not a fan of Pearl Jam, but I'm not somebody who's up on, all of the latest stuff they're doing or whatever. Definitely love the album 10. That was big for me. But there would be something about if I was passing him in a hallway and I could just say to him, like, hey, man, big fan, I would have a really hard time not doing that. And I don't know what that says about me. So, Roald, tremendous self-restraint.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to put myself in that position. I'm also very shy, and so I could see myself just doing the head nod thing. Like, I remember when Genevieve would, spot famous people in L.A., first of all, a lot of them didn't look like anything to me, but then even if they did, I think I was so hyper-focused on not making them feel watched that I would...
Like if she saw
really
Dabney Coleman and Erewhon.
Oh, no. I can't keep my chill around Dabney. Are you kidding me? It would be funny if you did see somebody and you just have a quick second. I'm not saying this about Eddie Vedder here, but there's somebody, you see somebody famous and you're just like, oh, hey, I like some of your work.
Or you do, yeah. Where do I know you from?
Yeah, but I like some of your work. Just it just
Yes.
leaves them thinking I wonder what work they don't like.
Well, the funny thing is, I did many years ago when I lived in Seattle, and we were doing, I think, the radio show. This was on the radio. You're on the radio. I would play basketball at this place called Sound, Mind, and Body, and they had a really good pickup game around lunchtime, and one of the Pearl Jam guys would show up for that, and he was so annoying. He called so many fouls. I think his name is Stone Gossard. I think he's the bassist. His whole thing is he loves basketball. And he was just I hated playing with him because he would just drive the lane and miss a shot and then call a foul, whether or not someone had even touched him. And I never once acknowledged that fucker was in Pearl Jam. And I had no trouble not acknowledging that he was in Pearl Jam.
So that's how it works. You call your own fouls, and everybody just basically agrees, unless it's an egregious lie.
It's
then
the honor
somebody
system.
might say, "Hey, listen."
Oh, people bellyache about it.
Yeah.
People complain, but nobody, it's one of the sacred rules of pickup basketball is you call your own fouls and they have to be respected. Like I've never seen someone, it's very rare. I could count on one hand the number of times somebody called their own foul and the other person just, and the other team just simply ignored the foul, pretended it didn't happen. It's one of those things because otherwise the entire game falls apart.
Yeah,
you have to have, some immutable laws of pickup basketball, and that's sort of one of them.
Could you just yell, "That hurt, Charlie"? Is that how you call your foul?
That's how I did. They asked me to stop coming to Sound Mind and Body after that.
Sure.
Okay, a little bit more from our friend Rold. This is number 2 of the stories of the anecdotes that he's been saving for his donor message. 2. There is an anime. It's called Blue Lock. It's about Japan finding the best soccer striker in the country. They all have abilities to make them special, like speed or strength. The main characters is spatial awareness.
Nice.
Wow. God, I would kill for that one. Actually, that might be the most useful. Like if you could have a superpower in soccer, I bet you spatial awareness would be the one, right? Think about it, because what you're constantly doing is you're getting, let's say the ball is coming to you, but you've got like 2 defenders closing in on you, and you got to figure out where you are in space versus them, versus the goal, versus your other players. Like I was watching clips of Maradona the other day from back in the day, and I mean, he was 5'0" 100 coked out of his mind most of the time, but he was ridiculous at soccer, and it was because I think of his spatial awareness.
Let me ask you this. The word striker, that is not a position in soccer.
It is.
It is. It's actual position on the field,
Yeah.
or it's like sort of
Yeah.
it's not a designation? Like
Well-
forward? Like what were the
Forward and striker, I think, are maybe somewhat interchangeable.
okay, I
maybe, like, I feel like I've heard striker used sort of interchangeably with forward. Now, maybe it's not officially a position. I'm also not a soccer expert.
I was wondering, for some reason in my head, and I'm not saying I'm right, but just to understand my question, if you care to, I was sort of thinking about how like a quarterback might be referred to as a pocket passer or something like that. Like, oh, no, your position is quarterback, but you're known as a pocket passer. I thought maybe a striker was more of a sort of a descriptor of a style.
I think you're right. No, I actually think you're right. I think that's a good example because, the positions are like, if you start, you have the goalkeeper. You have, actually, believe it or not, fullback, we used to call it in high school, which was like a defensive position. You have midfielders. There's one more defensive layer that I'm forgetting.
Is there
now.
halfback?
Halfbacks, maybe.
I mean, I'm just trying to remember from when I was playing when I was 11 years old or 10.
And then you've got like midfielders, and then you've got forwards. And the idea of the forwards was just that they're the people that are the tip of the spear. They're way up there near the other team's goal, and they're going to be trying to score a lot of goals. And I feel like I've heard those players described as a striker as well. But you're right; it might just be a description of what they do in the job, but technically the thing is still forward.
The thing I remember most about playing youth soccer was, running laps, which I hated, and the smell of my shin guards after a game or practice.
We used to have to do these. I'm forward versus striker. I'm looking this up right now. A striker is a specialized type of forward focused primarily on scoring goals, playing closest to the opponent's goal.
So
a forward is a broader term for any attacking player, including wingers, strikers, and second strikers.
I see. So I wonder when you're putting a team together, you're kind of like, okay, Burbank, you're the striker.
Yeah, I was. I did play forward a lot. And then I guess some midfield. We used to have to do these things called bear crawls, which are exactly what they sound like. You're on your hands and feet, and we used to have to bear crawl the entire soccer field. It was so far, and it doesn't sound that hard. That sounds almost like less bad than running. It's so much worse.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That was when Tom Taylor, our soccer coach, we had for our first soccer coach was this guy named Bill Hermy, Bill Hermy, and he was such an interesting dude. He was American, but he was really British coded. I don't know if he'd lived in England or what, but he really, like, this is when there was no awareness of the Premier League in the U.S., right? People didn't watch that stuff. People didn't know about it, but he did. He loved soccer. And by the way, his son was phenomenal. His son was the Gatorade Player of the Year. Paul, he played for the UW. But I remember he would just, like, Bill was so great. He would, when I was in 8th grade, I actually or 8th grade, or maybe my freshman year. I got to suit up for varsity like my freshman year, and Bill was still the coach. And he had the greatest British lines for soccer stuff. Like when you'd be running to head a ball and you got up there and you got it, he'd go, well up. And like he had
that's good job. That's good job.
That's like you jumped well, you well up. It was like you went up and you won a 50-50 ball. So the ball's kind of like either guy could get it from different teams, but you got the 50-50 ball. He would say well up for that. He would say there was all these like cool European soccer things that he would wear like some soccer jersey. He was like this like commercial real estate magnate, good like older bald guy, but he'd just be wearing like a Premier League soccer jersey on the sideline, like yelling well up, and was just a cool dude.
Yeah, I love that.
And then he decided, I think probably what happened was his son graduated, and so he was like, yeah, I'm gonna move on to other things. And so then we suddenly had this teacher, Mr. Taylor, who was kind of mousy and kind of like we went from this like guy who was bigger than life and who everything he said seemed cool, and we were like we were just kind of like in awe of him, to like a teacher at our school that all of us all kind of thought we could beat up. Like it's like I could probably take him, and now that's our new coach. And it was like he was just a mild mannered dude, which is not a crime at all. But it'd be like, so again the same thing. It'd be like it'd be time to do some kind of workout thing that we were all dreading. He'd be like, okay, bear crawls, and like half of us would be like, I don't think we're doing that today.
Really?
I mean, I don't know how open our disdain was. It was pretty open. It was actually too open. And I think our team was kind of pretty lousy after that because we didn't really want to do the exercise.
That's actually a really interesting dynamic though. Like the different aspects of coaching, and obviously I can't speak to it in the soccer realm. But even going back to some of our conversations about Dan Wilson with the Mariners, like a lot of people like kind of openly just acknowledge that his first year was rough for in-game decision making. But you had mentioned though that he's just really respected in this like low-key, steady Eddie way in the locker room. And if you have a very different personality that is way grumpier or way more fiery, or if you let people walk all over you, that can literally result in different results on the field, to say results twice.
I think I got suspended for a game for spitting on his leg.
Oh, Luke.
I don't think I did it on purpose. Maybe it was half on purpose. I remember spitting, it was outside of the soccer field. I remember like spitting and like it hit his leg or something. And he was like, did you spit on my leg? And I was like, no. And I'm probably in between trying to and not trying to spit on his leg. We had a complicated relationship.
Just one game, huh?
Well,
you spit on my leg. You're suspended from the show for a week.
I was all league at soccer.
I see.
He junior year, they needed me. They needed burbs on that. And again, mostly because of a lack of other players on the team that could kick the ball. But I was. It was one of those things where it's like you're suspended for a game, but then we need you back because we're pretty much, if we have a chance of getting a goal, it's probably. I had the weirdest thing with soccer, which was, I was not particularly skilled at it, but I had this very odd, like, lucky thing about getting the ball into the goal. Like, somehow when I was in the box, it just seemed to go in, but not because of some special goals, not because of abilities, not because of Maradona-esque proprioception or whatever they call it, just because of dumb luck. I remember one time going up and it was a corner kick, and I jumped up trying to head the ball into the goal, totally missed it, but caught the ball with my shoulder blade, my back, like my scapula, and it just going in. And it like looked like one of the coolest moves of all time, except it was completely accidental. Things like that. So anyway.
You can't use your elbow, can you?
No, you can't. Although
shoulder is okay. So it like basically ends at your shoulder?
I think it starts. So this was actually more my back. Right?
Yeah, okay. That's true. Yeah.
But I think if I remember right, it was from your shoulder down on your arm was not okay.
Yeah, no, that
like you couldn't use your bicep. Now, speaking of Maradona, there's this play called The Hand of God, where famously all indications are that Maradona totally just handballed it, but it was in a way that the official couldn't see. And there's all this like Zapruder film of it. There's no clear, because this was, the 70s or whatever. There's no clear shot of the Hand of God play. But if I've watched all the angles, and it's like, you just see like the ball couldn't do what it did without him just reaching in and like slapping the ball down or something.
Back and to the left.
Back and to the left, exactly. Well, thank you, Roald. for making TBTL possible. We couldn't do this without you.
Hello and welcome to Top Story.
All right, tried to get to this yesterday and didn't. So let's at least deliver on that one. A goal for today, which is the story. Of course, I now can't exactly find the original article right in front of me, but a guy in England, and I'm gonna find this. Man Turns Blue. It's not just a Neil Diamond song. Man Turns Blue, England. A guy in England checked himself into the ER. His name is Tommy Lynch. He's from Derbyshire. Because his skin had turned blue, and there's photographs of it in this BBC article I'm reading. He's 42 years old, and his hand is a very upsetting shade of blue. Like, it looks like he's maybe been like, this actually happens when people are poisoned with like polonium and stuff, which is unfortunately something that the KGB has done to people, including Navalny. Like this, and there's a picture that this guy took, I think, of himself in the ER. They've got him hooked up to a full-on oxygen mask. He checks himself into the hospital because first of all, he had gone to bed the night before and he had slept, by his account, for a long time. I want to say he'd slept for like 10 or 12 hours and woke up and was completely blue. And so he went into the ER and they were totally shocked and concerned. They could not figure out what was going on with him. Let's see. He said, everybody at the reception, I think they call the emergency room A&E in England. Okay. Everyone in the reception of A&E was staring at me like they'd seen a ghost. They whisked me through, put me straight on oxygen, asking me all these questions. I had about 10 doctors around me at one point. They went to take my blood, and as soon as she wiped my arm, the wipe went blue. Then it clicked. I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." They were absolutely fantastic, but I was mortified because what Tommy had realized was the blue that was covering him was from his new blue bed sheets that somebody had given him. The 40-pound set of bed sheets had been gifted to Lynch to keep him warm at his barn property in Castle Gresley in November. He had been sleeping in these sheets that were blue. He did not realize, I guess, that you should wash sheets before you sleep in them. And so the blue dye of the sheets was slowly wearing off on him. And after this one particularly long night of sleeping, I think, if I remember right, he had had a wild night. And then the next day he was kind of in recovery mode and he had kind of just gone to sleep for a long time. He had blew himself in the parlance of Tobias Funke. And that was why he had turned himself blue. Now, what I find so surprising about this is that he didn't instinctively know to throw the sheets into the wash. And that's not because I'm somebody who's exceptionally clean or hygienic or whatever, but because I have actually, because I, changed up some things in my house and I bought some new beds upstairs for the guest rooms, and that meant buying new sheets. What I've noticed, Andrew, is when you get new sheets out of the kind of like that plastic kind of, sort of not film, but you know what I mean? There's a
Is it the zipper bag one?
The zipper bag. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's like that zipper bag that new sheets come in, new bedding comes in. I feel like when you pull out new bedding, it reeks. It has the weirdest, maybe it's just where I'm buying this at Costco. Maybe this is just sheets from Costco, but like I pulled some of those sheets out, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago because I was going to set up a new set for one of the upstairs rooms. I try to have, for each room, which is just 3 rooms in my house, I try to have a set of sheets for the bed and then a backup set of sheets that's always cleaned and ready to go. So if you need to change the sheets, it's not such a hassle. So I realized one of the rooms I didn't have a backup set. So I pulled that out of the zipper bag and was like, took a whiff because, like, low key, probably I was thinking I could just throw these on. It's just my parents. But they were like, the smell from these sheets was incredibly weird and chemically and almost kind of a little bit sulfuric in some way. And so, of course, I had to throw them right in the wash. I'm surprised that these sheets, these blue sheets that this guy was using, didn't just like, it wasn't obvious to him he needed to wash them first.
I don't know. I can't speak to that. I have not had that experience. I don't.
You would just wash a set of sheets instinctively, though.
I don't think I would. You would think that because I'm because I do like to clean things. But here's the deal: we do have a couple of sets of like kind of relatively new sheets. Like we kind of did that thing. I think the last time we moved, which was like 3 years ago, we did that thing where we finally like organized all of the bits and pieces of sheeting that we had around like in our bedroom or whatever, and then like actually kind of recreated sets and figured out what to get rid of and what not to, and we got rid of most of it and replaced it with some better sheets. It's just it was one of those moments that even well into my 40s was a little bit of a hangover of my 20s, right? Like you grab these sheets, you grab those sheets, and then at some point you're like, wait a second, I'm an adult here. Let me just kind of get rid of all these
$23 at Costco.
Right. But the thing is, Genevieve, now, I don't think we have bought Costco sheets, which shocks me. I mean, if you mention that's a Genevieve, that will change before this episode is posted. But I think Genevieve goes online, and I will say, and Genevieve loves a deal, so I don't know if she got a deal or not, but she did get some pretty nice sets of sheets that are very soft to the touch and very nice, the nicest sheets I've slept on. But I would assume that she probably made the bed the first time, but sometimes we do that together. That should be a two-person. It's so much easier with two people. But I don't ever remember smelling that smell. I want to support this story, but it could either be that I just got sheets from a different place and didn't experience it, or maybe I wasn't in the room. But I swear I can remember, like, putting sheets on a bed where you can still see the creases of the squares because of the way it was folded or whatever.
Well, what's weird is, for me, it would be an obvious that I was going to wash new sheets before I put them on the bed. I do not always wash if I get a new glass or some new glasses.
Oh, that I always.
I don't.
wash.
I will admit that there might have been a time or two where like I got some new glasses and I was in a hurry and I didn't feel like washing them or running through the dishwasher, and I just sort of put them in the cupboard like they're pretty clean wherever they came from. So that's a weird disconnect for me, because you'd think, that's actually potentially more dangerous, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Most of our glasses, except for I'm thinking like wine glasses and stuff, I do feel like a lot of our favorite glasses come from vintage shops and stuff like that. And so, of course,
I would do that if I got it.
Of course. You wouldn't even, they're sitting on a shelf. People are picking them up. It wouldn't even be a question. So I don't know, but I do anything that is food related, I'm going to wash it when it gets into the house.
You know what I've also started doing now? I don't know what your in your bed, like what your sort of comforter duvet type situation is, but like I was for a long time. So I wash my sheets once a week. Typically Sunday is the day for it, and so my whole system, as I've already described, is like I pull the sheets off. I already have a clean set ready to go, and I put the clean set on right then, because there's nothing worse than it's like 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and you go into your bedroom and realize there are no sheets on the bed. So I put the clean sheets on right away, and then I immediately take the dirty sheets to the washing machine and throw those in and get those started. But I used to honestly not change the duvet cover. So I have a duvet, whatever, down or something, and then I have a cover on it. And there's just nothing more annoying than trying to wrangle the duvet into the duvet cover. Do you guys have a duvet cover?
I have somehow gotten Genevieve off of the duvet system, and I don't know if this is forever change, but we now have two exactly identical comforters, and they're not the kind that need a cover, right? The whole thing can be washed. They're kind of like, they've got this nice brightly colored design on it. We have two of them, so you can swap one out. You can throw the whole thing in the washing machine. I still don't wash it every time I do the sheets, though. I still think that's like every, I don't know, 4 times that I strip the bed and do it, maybe. Then
that was probably my rotation on the duvet cover.
Yeah.
And then I just, and then the last time, like 2 times ago when I did the sheets, I was like, okay, I just probably throw this thing in. I'm chewing on this thing at night. God knows I'm drooling on it. It's like, it should probably get tossed in the wash. And so I did. And then when I put the duvet back in, first of all, I was doing this whole thing where I was tying, the duvet cover had these little strings on it that I could tie, and the duvet itself had fabric hooks. So I could tie it all in. And I think because I thought I had to do that as part of this whole thing, it was adding to the time or whatever. I just didn't do it this time. I just grabbed the corner of the duvet and then put it in, grabbed the corner of the duvet cover, did it with the other thing, got it all in there, zipped it, and then just gave it a few healthy shakes or whatever. The amount of enjoyment that I felt literally all week getting into bed and having that, it was all like puffed up. It was all like fluffed up, the whole thing. The duvet cover smelled nice and clean, and it was just kind of like fluffy, and I felt like I was sleeping in a cloud.
Oh, wait, you washed both the cover and the duvet itself?
No.
The fluffiness
I've never
is
washed
coming
the
from
duvet.
the cover? Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But
I've never washed the actual feather thing. I'm just talking about the cover.
But it was the act of maybe resetting it that fluffed up the entire
Maybe the
duvet.
shaking of it to get it to go in there. I don't know what happened, but what I know is then the next time, so the other day on Sunday, so however many days ago that I did the sheets again, I just did the duvet cover again. I just took, because I have two, I just took the one that was on there off, and I put the new one on, and now I'm getting a pretty fast system, which is just like, yeah, I don't have to, I'm not tying it all in there or whatever. And let me tell you, man, same thing this week. Like, every time I get into bed, because of course there's nothing better than when you get into bed after you've changed your sheets. That feeling of clean sheets is like the
so
absolute
nice,
best.
yeah.
So, but this is like a whole other level. I swear that like the effect of the clean, recently changed duvet cover, it's like a multi-day effect. It's not just like you have one nice night of sleep and then the next day it's like whatever. It's just like I swear to God, it's like this. I've seen the light. I'm always going to, I mean, at some point this thing will probably, they'll start falling apart. I don't know if they're even meant to be washed once a week, but until they start to show some wear and tear or whatever, I think my new thing is change the duvet cover every time I do the sheets, because it's really, really improving the overall experience. It's like I want to go to bed right now. I want to go get in bed and pull that fluffy cloud of a duvet over me.
I don't know. Maybe I should say, I know that there are some people, it's so cliche to complain about having to put a duvet cover on a duvet.
Right.
And so I don't want to be that cliche. And also, maybe there's been a backlash to that. I've just seen a lot of like kind of, or maybe it's just Hannah has said it to me once, just like, come on, it's a duvet cover. It's not that hard. Just be an adult or whatever. But like, there is still something I just hate about that so much that I love. And like, I'm still always trying to remember the difference between a comforter, a bedspread, a this or a that. I think we actually broke that down on the show one time. I think comforter is the word I'm looking for, but now that we have a nice comforter, actually a set of, two that are, whatever, a pair of them that we can swap in and out, like I feel like a freedom. I feel like I felt when I deleted my LinkedIn account, just kind of like, why was I doing that?
Bedspreads are lightweight, decorative, and draped to the floor, ideal for warmer weather. Comforters are thick, fluffy, and filled with insulation for warmth.
That's us.
Usually sitting just below the mattress edge, requiring a bed skirt. How often do you change your bed skirt?
I don't think we have a... Oh, yeah, we don't. I thought you were being serious. Yeah, no, our bed is like a... Yeah, it looks presentable without a skirt.
Yeah, I don't think they're even making... I mean, I don't know if they're making beds that need a bed skirt anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of got a Mama's Family vibe to it, doesn't it?
It does. That's some real Vicki Lawrence energy.
Absolutely. All right, well, I got my Mama's Family reference in for the day.
Good. Well, I think I think we've done enough. Also, I can see that you're texting the fellow business boy John Sklarov that we're running late for our meeting. So why don't we wrap this up and then continue to chart the future course of TBTL.
You want to? Yeah, I guess we're going to be finding out whether or not we keep going, right? Today.
Yeah, but if we find out that it's a green light, then we will be back here tomorrow with more Imaginary Radio. My hunch is yes. My hunch is that we will probably be back here tomorrow. So if you could join us for that, we'd appreciate it. In the meantime, have a great Wednesday. Thanks for listening, and please remember, no mountain too tall.
And good luck to all.
Power out.